Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you all are here. You have shown up for a session that I think is going to genuinely change the way we all work. The art of probing is one of the most underrated skill especially in the L&D toolkit that we have today. And today we are going to um, understand how we can ask better questions, even use AI to get prepared for to get ourselves prepared for asking better questions by our stakeholders with our stakeholders. So before we dive in today, a quick look at what's coming up by Grow with Satori. Your strengths have a flip side. Yes, they do. We are hosting a 4-hour in person workshop on what happens when your best qualities start working against you under pressure. Um, this is worth every bit of curiosity that you can bring to the workshop to understand your strengths better and how they flip when you undergo any stress, any tension, any pressures. This is happening on 13th of June in Treehouse, Indiranagar. It's an in-person session. So can I request Asavri to please share the links in the chat?
Yes, and
Thank you, dear. The next coming up is react less, respond better. And how do you do that? Ask me. Join our workshop 2 of the Emotionally Intelligent Leader series. For anyone who has ever sent a message they wish they could take back. The session is titled Emotional Regulation Under Pressure. And you can also join the 5-part workshop series by registering for the learning journey. The next session is happening on 19th of June at 3 p.m. Asavri, please do the needful. Thank you. Now something for the difficult conversation, the complicated conversations that you have been postponing for a really long time. A book discussion on crucial conversations, especially for women leaders ready to stop, hoping the difficult moment would pass soon and start navigating through it towards success. So join Grow with Satori's Leader in You Lean In Circle, a women only community, and we will share the meetup invite for the book discussion of crucial conversations with you there. The discussion is happening on 24th of June. Now, something about our bestseller, Once Upon a Leader. That's a learning series that happens in the last week of every month. The next one is happening on 30th of June, and in this one, we will indulge in the discussion of who is the leader becoming, and we will take reflection inspiration from the story of Hanuman, who goes to the Patal Lok in search of Sri Ram's lost ring and comes back to our, and then we will, after the reflection, we come back to our present lives to find answers to some of the questions every driven leader like us eventually needs to understand and sit with. And finally, a chance to restore, reflect, and return different from serene. We are presenting a 9-day work wellness journey led by Coach Shanti Sharma in Sri Lanka, where you can not just learn but also live the concepts of EQ, emotional quotient, ikigai, and resilience. This is planned for October 21st to 4th to November 1. So if you are interested, please check the link soon and share your interest. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Now, let me introduce the person who is going to take us through today's session. Ruchi, can I request you to wave your hand? So, Ruchi brings over 2 decades of experience in the tech industry, from IBM Labs to Microsoft to Amazon and Samsung, across engineering, product, and leadership role in both in India and in the US. She's a graduate from BITS Pilani and the University of Illinois and has since made a deliberate pivot into L&D coaching and leadership development. I believe what makes Ruchi a particularly interesting guide for today's topic is that she asks questions for a living. She's a leadership coach. She mentors entrepreneurs and works with young adults navigating career choices. She also teaches product management and agile architecture and is deeply committed to women's leadership and social impact. Wondering if I can even say that she has lived the journey from engineer to questionnaire, and today she's just going to help us do the same thing. Ruchi, I hand over the floor to you.
Is it okay if I bring up the slide now, Ishita?
Yes, please do.
Thank you. Thank you, Ishita, for that very warm and what I cannot say on my own or draft on my own kind of bio. I always ask you to send me back the bio because I cannot elucidate so well. Okay. So thank you for that. Thank you, Grow with Satori, for this opportunity. I try to give back to the community. Learning and development is a field which is I have not just landed here by default. It's been a very intentional choice to enter L&D after engineering, tech, product management, program management, and I deeply respect the people who actually make this their career. But we also understand that this tends to be a tertiary department in corporates. So when the axe has to fall, a lot of times we are hurt, or our initiatives are hurt. The reason I'm highlighting this is, um, what we're going to discuss today is about how to make yourself meaningful and valuable to the business leaders, and how to add to perspectives which potentially the business leaders are not seeing. We are also going to be talking about not just internal L&D consultants, but we'll also be doing discussion as if when you're an external L&D consultant and you don't know the culture of the organization or you don't know all the backstory, then what the implication is and how can you prepare yourself better to come across as somebody who really understands the challenge they are trying to solve. Okay, so that was a little bit of the context. I have shared my LinkedIn profile for those of you who would like to connect. We are going to be talking about, the name of the session is AI powered probing for L&D professionals. Um, Although the focus seems to be on AI, I have tried to make the session not only about AI. I want you all to just reflect, want all of us as a group to reflect on the value that good questions bring when we are trying to interact with SMEs, business leaders, and when we are trying to see whether we can give them customized, meaningful experience, which is not only in the classroom, which we can hear a lot of people say, oh boy, this was a good training, this was a good intervention, but when they what they carry back. So how is it that we start early and make that journey meaningful for them? We will be covering the AI part in the last 40 minutes. In the beginning, for about an hour, we will be doing uh, general probing attitude, what not to miss, what dimension to consider. I have already been introduced, so this is my formal profile. The only thing that I would like to add, as Ishita also mentioned, I am a PCC level coach, but I have not been able to leave my tech world behind. I am also a certified software architecture trainer. So I do end up doing software architecture training, product management training, and leadership areas. And then, of course, I do one-on-one coaching for people. I have many varied interests. I'm a theater artist. I act in English and Hindi plays. I am part of a music group. We sing for the community. So I do end up having a lot of hats that I wear.
Ruchi, we need a new bio for you where you have added what you have not added earlier.
Okay, we'll add that.
Would
Sure.
love to know them.
All right. It's a time for us to all engage and talk. Tell me, people, when you get a training request, either as an internal HR stakeholder or an L&D stakeholder from a stakeholder, or when you as a L&D consultant get a request from a client, what's your first response? How do you prepare? What are the common mistakes that happen? What are common best practices that you follow? Let's hear from a few of us. Please mention your name when you are answering, and maybe a one liner about yourself, so that we also have some sense of the who we are connecting with. Go ahead, it's your time. Anyone? What are some of the good things you have, standard things you do?
I'll
Uh,
start, Ruchi.
sure, Shanti.
And I've been on both sides. I've been an internal L&D professional. I think my approach hasn't changed drastically.
Mm-hmm.
I start by inviting to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What do I ask? Tell me more about the audience. Why did
Mm-hmm.
you, how did you arrive at the fact? What was the
Mm-hmm.
cause? So what was the root cause behind you arriving at the training?
Mm-hmm.
Demographic of the audience. And I keep a note of all of this because that helps me customize the workshop later. I
Mm-hmm.
also say, ask them about, and I also
Mm-hmm.
check with them, do they have a baseline? Invariably, they will say, we would want good feedback from stakeholders, but they don't even have a measure of feedback from stakeholders today. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to go back and say, okay, let's start by getting a baseline. Can we send
Mm-hmm.
a survey out to your stakeholders, get a baseline there?
Mm-hmm.
Your stakeholders are rating your participants 3 on 5 today, and
Mm-hmm.
no, that should give us a baseline and say, okay, at the end of the workshop, 3 months later, we did the survey again, needle moved 4.5 on 5, something of that sort. um, I'll pause here. I know there are a few more things, but we already have
We have
Sandhya.
already got the master talking, so let's see what
Yeah,
others also have to say.
yeah, Sandhya has raised her hand.
Yeah.
Sandhya, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hi. So of course, she has told us a lot of things about, and actually we do that. But typically, when I receive a training request, the first thing that I asked is, what has been the pain points? Why this? I mean, what are the basic problem or the challenges they're facing? The business is facing, why do they feel this training is required, and my intention is also to ask that whether training is the right solution for that problem statement or not. I mean, because not every problem can be solved by training alone. Maybe a different kind of intervention required, maybe a coaching is required, maybe uh, mentoring is a solution. So the thing is that first I wanted to understand what is the problem statement here, and then derived onto the thing that whether training is the right solution or not,
Thank you,
and then
Sandhya.
I
Thank
move
you.
on to asking other things.
Thank you. And I think that point is very important. In the need to fulfill and satisfy our business leaders' ask, sometimes that step is missed. Is training the real issue here? Many different types of problems are disguised as training requests. Performance problems, sudden pivoting in the group problem. You had a reorg and people are very restless. You just want to get them busy. And so you just want to make them busy with something problem. You foresee a quarter which is not going to go very, and I'm saying things which don't come out very obvious. You see a quarter which is not going to go very well, a performance review which is not going to go very well for the whole org. Can we do something for the managers, because they need to be able to deal with the emotional engagement that's going to happen in the team? The why is that they need to deal with the emotional engagement, but the background story is very important. That performance review cycle is coming and we are not expecting as many twos and ones. We are only expecting mostly threes. We are not giving people raises, and we want the managers to be able to. So many times the problems are actually disguised as training requests, and sometimes, even though the answer might be training, if you don't get back to the actual root cause, only the symptom of it, the chances are that it might be a good experience, but you don't know what will happen L2, L3, 30 days later, 60 days later, or 90 days later. So thank you, Sandhya and Shanti, for those insights. Many of these, what you have said, are a summarization at the end of the session also. Anyone else who wants to add any other thoughts, especially some common pitfalls? I mentioned one pitfall, but any other common pitfall, one, and then we'll move on.
Sandhya, you raised your hand again. Is there something you want to add? Okay, yes.
No, I think that was the earlier.
Okay,
Thank
sure. Anyone, common pitfall? One of the common pitfalls that I have seen is what I call Rome was built in one day and with 5 bricks. Okay, yeah, we want them to become really good at TensorFlow. And you know what? Can we do it in like 2 days and like, maybe 10 to 4 because they also need to do work? And saying yes to this without doing some little bit of pushback. See, sometimes it's not in the L&D team's hand, right? The business pressures are so strong. But at least taking back and saying, let me formulate a program and let us see after that whether it means 10 to 4 for 2 days or it means something else. Because everybody wants Rome to be built in one day and with 10 bricks. But you can't build Rome in one day and 10 bricks, right? And at least standing up to it first and trying, and then coming up with the full program, and then trying to condense it instead of going with this mindset that I have to do 10 to 6 and then trying to build the program condensed around that. That should be the second iteration. However, for external L&D consultants, this becomes a challenge. Their fear is that if I don't give them something which is going to fit in a 10 to 6, 10 to 4 kind of format today, they will have other vendors who will give it to them. So there is a competition, right? So internal people are able to stand up more to this. External people need to navigate this with a sense of politics and competition and, whether I should talk about it in first go or whether I should come up with 2 formats. But this is one of the common pitfalls that I have seen. 2 hours, can you just run them upon AI? Just run them upon AI in 2 hours, please. Like this is one of the most common pitfalls. All right. Lovely hearing from a couple of you. I hope more of you engage as we go along. So here is what we will do now. We will request Ishita to create, or one of the members in the support team to create breakout rooms for us. And in the breakout rooms, I'm giving you, we have, excluding
14.
me, we have 13 people. So should we call 13 as the
Yeah.
size? So
Yes.
we can do 4 groups of 3 each and 1 group of 4, 3 groups of 3 and 1 of 4. And these are the 4 problem statements, okay? And group 1 gets request 1, group 2 gets request 2, group 3 gets request 3, and group 4 gets request 4. My request to you is do not go online. Use the group that you have so that you are tapping into your already experience that you bring to the table. We will be doing this again where you'll go online, where you'll play with AI and all of that. Let this first experience be about peer learning from each other. Okay? So take this, and I have also highlighted 2 of these are with external consultants profile and 2 of these are with internal consultants profile. It will be good to hear from you how navigation may be different for an internal consultant versus an external consultant. And your goal here is, how do I prepare to connect? Okay. What will I do and what will I absolutely not do? What are some of the things we should avoid? And try to come up with 10 meaningful questions. Don't try to make like a whole checklist. We'll do that in the second half of the session. But what would be some of the really top level sessions, questions that you would like to have? 5 of them could be really surface, but 5, give it a little more thought. Okay. And are there specific frameworks that you use while preparing for this? Does it help you in your thinking? And who will you ask to interact for this particular training, to have this convo? Okay. So I think about 10 to 12 minutes minimum. Sometimes it may take longer because there are 3 or 4 of you. Everybody will share their thoughts. So maybe we will start with 15 and we can close at 12 or 13, but we should give 15 minutes, I think. Ishita, what's your opinion? 15 minutes would be a good time?
Yeah. Midway, I think, Ruchi, you can go to different breakout rooms
I
to
will go. I
together
will make one trip.
somewhere.
Yes.
If I
Yes.
go, the recording will get affected. So
No,
I
I
want
will go. I'm just asking, is
Okay.
15 a good time? You all run so many sessions that you would probably have an idea. That's what I
Yeah,
was asking. Yeah.
yeah, this
Yeah.
should be fine.
Yeah.
So Chandra, Rishabh, and Xavier, you are in group one. So yours will be the request one. Ashwin,
Give me 1
Shanti,
minute. I'm just going to, as you're speaking, I'm going to write it down. Go ahead. Xavier, Chandra, and
Xavier, Chandra, Rishabh is
got it. Next.
Ashwin, Shanti, Shrikanti is group two.
Ashwin, Shanti,
Shrikanti,
Shrikanti. Done.
yeah. Nilofer, Sandhya, Sharadhi, group three
Sharadi. Nilofer, Sandhya, Sharadi. Done.
is group three. And the group four is Akansha, Asavari, and Vivek.
Akanksha, Asavari, Vivek.
Yeah.
All right. And each one of you can note your problem statement. Okay. And if you have any questions about the activity, please raise them before Ishita starts the breakout rooms.
Yeah, if no
All right.
questions,
Go
then
ahead.
I'll nudge in the middle time.
Yes. And I
How
will
much
come to
time
each
is
of the
left?
room for a minute or
All right.
so for interaction too.
All right. You will
Yeah.
receive a request now to join the rooms. Please join them.
Vivek, are you there? Are you having a problem joining the room?
Hmm. I think the system will automatically put in the app.
Okay. I will go ahead to one of the rooms and I'll start my journey. I'm making a note. It's 20. We started at 15:28. Okay. Roughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every 5 minutes, I'll drop a note I'll broadcast a
Sure.
message.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me go. Okay. Will I be able to go to a breakout room? Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Join.
Hi, Ashwin. Are you able to join the room? You want me to put you to a different room?
That could be fine too. So
So,
basically,
so
second scenario.
all right. So, Shanti ma'am, I'll put you to a different room.
I'm going to go to another room.
Yeah. So, Ruchi, some changes has happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was one group where nobody was talking, so I have
Move them.
dismantled
I'll
that.
go to. That's fine. I'll just go to room 3 now. No problem. I will go to room 4 now.
I've just broadcasted a message.
Actually, room 1 also, they were not talking. Rishabh was
Oh.
talking, the other two were in meetings, so they were writing. So actually, one person could have gone there, but it's okay. Whoever comes up, I think there'll still be some discussion, which is good. That's fine.
Okay.
It's been 10 minutes. Let's give them 3-4 more minutes easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll drop a message that 3 minutes left.
Huh. So in your day-to-day work, which LLM or which AI do you use most often, Ishita?
Fan of ChatGPT until somebody introduced me to Claude.
Mm-hmm.
And now I am stuck with Claude, doing a lot of things. Even brainstorming is something that I love doing with Claude.
Yeah, I think Claude, that part of Claude is good. I like ChatGPT for its simplicity. For
Yeah.
quick stuff, I mean, even for my medical reports and all analysis, ChatGPT does a good job. But dialogues, I'm liking better with Claude.
Mhm.
And structured content, Gemini is just awesome.
Mhm.
Like in terms of.
I recently participated in um, one of the assessments that somebody shared with me. He's a coach by profession, doing his research of PhD for AI coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I was allowed to observe a lot of things, that was really, really. I'm sure if I can share a few experiences from that in
Yeah,
this,
sure.
and pick up a place where I can share that.
We will, when we talk about there is a discussion part
Mhm.
where what all AI do you use, what are goods, what are bads, or has something become your favorite? We have that.
Lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I am going to.
Give it another minute, so that another minute and then we can switch it off. Okay?
Yeah, I'll say
Yeah.
30 seconds left and then give another minute.
I think we can get them back, get our people back.
Be slowly coming back.
Yeah.
There's a new participant too. The breakout rooms will auto close in around 10 seconds. Huh?
Sure.
They'll be back now.
Welcome back, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we are not in a position to go through all 10 questions from each group. What we will do is, for all the 3 groups, one by one, tell me 3 or 4 interesting questions which are important for that scenario. Okay? 3. And if you have to, 4. The obvious ones are what is the audience, etc. Try to make it the more interesting ones. And try to tell what are the tricky things about understanding this training request. Okay? So we can go one by one. Either one person can talk or everybody can talk one by one. Let's start with group 1. What were the type of questions that you came up? 3 interesting or important ones. 3 or 4 max. Who wants to share? Rishabh, you want to share? I know that some people in your group are not able to unmute because they're in a meeting. Rishabh, or anybody else from group 1 wants to share? Or if you want to write in the chat, I will pull it out. Let's go to group 2. What do you want to share with
We
us?
didn't have anybody in group 2. Ashwin
Oh,
was
sorry, group 3. Thank you. It got merged. Yes. Group 3. Tell me.
I think we had the normal questions that we always ask, nothing very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so since you're looking for interesting, I don't think there was anything
Okay, so what do you think
way
is
out.
tricky about this? And you're an external consultant.
Yeah.
And what is tricky about this ramp up org on AI?
First of all, it is too generic. The request itself is too generic. And so, unless you really probe and find out, it is very difficult. What also sometimes happens is that very often they do not allow you to have conversations with the stakeholders. And then they say, okay, we are in a hurry, and you send us a sort of a proposal and an outline, and then we will see. And in any case, we are checking with many other vendors. So that is the usual thing that happens.
Okay. Anyone, any other thoughts on the request 3?
Yeah,
Anyone?
actually, I mean, I understand that a lot of time you do not get an opportunity to speak to stakeholders. But however, even to the L&D team, the questions I may want to ask is that what is the current level of AI literacy, and especially who all will be part of this? I mean, I understand it's a generic question about audience and audience level and audience size, but why I want to understand this, because AI impacts different for different teams, right? When you say organization level AI transformation, support team might have a different agenda, tech team might have a different agenda, a product team might have a different agenda, and a junior level guy have a different kind of requirements, and the senior level will have a different kind of requirement. So this is where my whole focus on the audience, the need, and what project. I mean, I may go on to project later, but what is the outcome they are looking at each level?
Either each function,
each
if they have multiple functions, or each level also. Should they be starting to code? Should they be starting? Yeah. Should they be starting for productivity? Should they be starting for code? And because I used AI as an example here, because we also know that when corporates are using AI, there are restrictions. Your corporate is committed to Copilot. You can't use other AI in your setup.
So this is also one more thing, that what kind of AI infrastructure that you have.
Exactly. And do you want generic, or do you want it focused on that infrastructure?
Exactly.
Kind of
so
thing.
this is what I said.
Yeah. And the reason we made it external, this particular request, was that sometimes, especially if an org is planning to do transformation or build something on AI, they may not want to talk about their stealth stuff with an external consultant. In which case, you will need to probe on what are the potential uses you're going to do with it. Are you going to have certain kind of development? So at least you need to get some level of understand. Are they going to build
Yeah,
agents? Are they going to build on top of certain AI? Without that, you will not be able to send a proposal. It'll be
yeah.
all
So
over the place.
this is where I was saying that maybe for the product, are you trying to, for the support team, are you trying to do the process automation? For the product
Mhm.
team, is what is the kind of product that you are building?
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
want them to build agents or do you want them to build products with this? So
And
this is the
sometimes
kind
what
of,
have excellent examples, excellent, and I'm sorry I cut you over. Excellent examples. And one of the things that happens if the literacy is low, if they admit that their literacy is low, then they are expecting L&D team to give caselets. You know, we will be able to get your sales team to use blah. We will be able to get your marketing team to use blah, because they don't have visibility into that also. And do you realize in a way you are telling them strategy? Actually, you're not just training them, you're telling them strategy of using these tools. But sometimes that is
yeah.
the expectation,
But then
unfortunately.
I will be very, very honest.
Uh-huh.
And you've been a technical trainer yourself, and you will realize lot of time technical training comes disguised in the form of strategy.
Yeah, yeah.
They wanted to ask the real questions, real life
Yes, yes.
problems.
And you have to be conscious of three things here. And saying this because I know I send proposals and I don't hear back any response because they use those proposals internally to figure out how they'll execute it because they don't want to pay you money. So be careful on how much trust you have with them and how you play the game. Although it's not about probing, and that's not our agenda, but as an external consultant, you have to play the game of how far you go too early in the negotiation, basically. But you also have to be able to give ideas that, with marketing, we can transform it in this way. Otherwise, then they realize that you have the right kind of breadth. So I am talking about winning the proposal, but that's outside the scope of this training. But it's an important part of the thinking. I just want to highlight that for external consultants. Okay, let's go to the request for customer centricity in sales team, and it's the internal team. Go ahead, 4 or 5 questions which were kind of interesting. And what is tricky?
Okay,
Anyone?
so yeah.
Go ahead, Asavri.
So we mapped the whole journey.
Mm-hmm,
First, we get in touch with the person from the sales team, assuming
mm-hmm,
that he's going to be a leader.
mm-hmm,
Having a conversation with him, okay, would have been easier in terms of being more direct.
mm-hmm,
And then he would guide us to the team or the participants or the team members for whom he would want that training.
mm-hmm,
Now, where we were spending time in discussion was how do we bring the conversation up with the team, because with the leader we can directly say, okay, how do you define centricity, give us instances. And
mm-hmm,
suppose there is a training need that we feel at the level of the leader, we go a step ahead and meet with the team.
mm-hmm,
So how do we cannot, so we were discussing, we cannot be as direct with them as we are with the leader.
mm-hmm,
So how do we go about addressing customer centricity? So Akansha suggested that probably we can float a questionnaire
mm-hmm.
before we meet them, in terms of understanding where do you think the team is with customer centricity, and getting to all those nitty
So
and gritty.
again, remember the word customer centricity may not even be a word that the people who will go through the training are actually very, often using,
Yeah.
right? So that is where the challenge of internal comes in, and external can't even do a survey. So you have certain benefits of being internal because you can propose a survey, you can propose talking to 2 3 people in a group and asking, what is going well with customers, what is not going well with customers. Can you tell us 3 big issues that came from customers which you think should have been done differently? If we were to do a training for you focused on customer management, and maybe getting rid of those words which are very senior jargons
Sure.
while talking to the junior people. So, can you tell us if we were to do a training or experience related to how you manage customers, what would be your personal need? And at least ask that personal need to a couple of people. Because the thing is, something like this customer centricity may not be that everybody has the same need. Some people are not writing good emails. Some people are not responding to phone calls on time. Somebody else is not, going to a meeting not prepared for the customer. Each person may have their own debacle region or the gap region. And being an internal L&D, you can afford to ask all of these questions. External, you can't, or you don't have that leeway or advantage, basically. Okay.
Right.
The last one, which we didn't cover, which is improve communication. This is the most fuzzy of it, of managers. Do you want it? What level are the managers? Have they done any communication training before? What are the three situations in which you want them to communicate better? Is it the team meetings? Is it the one-on-ones? Is it when they are not inspiring people? Instead of telling the case, let's first ask them, what are the three situations you want improved? Three. And then give examples of, oh, they'll say, one-on-one dialogues. Okay. So are they doing the one-on-one dialogues and the effectiveness is not there? What data do you have for that? Notice this one also I gave to an internal, because for an external one to understand this, it needs, they can't even ask those questions. Actually, they don't have the leeway of, sometimes even the internal L&D has to understand first. They may translate it for the external L&D. But there's a lot of probing that's needed when you say communication. Okay. All right. I hope you were able to get each other's perspective in this discussion also. Here was a slide where I would have summarized, but we did a summarization based on conversation. The question I'll ask is, was there any approach or framework that came to your mind as you were doing preparation for these questions? All right. And at least one group suggested that they can go and talk directly to the junior members. And my question to you was, do you know which stakeholders you're going to talk to? And that is sometimes very, very important. And they say, we will get you if you're an external L&D consultant, they will say, we will make you talk to the business leader, right? But sometimes the leader cannot tell you. You don't need that senior a person. Sometimes you need the next level. Let's say Python training. And if they get you the business head, it's not going to be as effective. You need the tech lead of the team, because the tech lead knows what libraries, what kind of usage will happen in the team. So sometimes the whole business head actually may not give you the full right perspective. And you will need to request, can I also talk to somebody who will directly work with these people who will get trained? Can I get an interview with somebody who's going to directly work with these people who will get trained? Because the expectation should come from that person, because they will work with this lead. So those are some of the questions, and there'll be slightly different questions for each of the scenarios. Okay. All right. This is something that was brought up by Sandhya itself in the beginning. Will the training help? That itself is the first concern, because a lot of times training is about some problem. Training sometimes is about a crisis, and sometimes it is about a performance gap. And we as L&D professionals may not be in a situation to solve those, but it's important for us to know the root cause. And Sandhya and Shanti both highlighted this while they were discussing. It is important as a trainer to understand, where are you seeing the gap, especially when it's communication or customer centricity or a process training, or revisiting something. When they say, you know what, we want a refresher for them. Why is the refresher needed? Which means they have already been trained. Is there a process issue? Is there a tools issue? Is there a communication issue? Is there a priority issue? Is there a schedule issue? Like the time is compressed? And that needs a little bit of dialogue. There are cases where, at least I remember in Samsung, we used to get training requests from somebody, and we used to go and have dialogues with them and a few of their team members. And after that, they won't come back for the training request. And I would ping them. You had asked for this, what happened? And they would say, you know what, we were able to resolve it by doing this, this, and this. But the internal L&D needs to have this mindset. The external L&D can't have this mindset. That's not our goal, right? We are here for business. But the internal L&D should have this mindset of having the dialogue so that when the root cause is unearthed during that discussion, maybe they don't need a training. Maybe they'll realize that, you know what, we just need a checklist which is not getting followed. And the other aspect, if the training is needed, then there are so many options today. Even understanding that aspect needs a few questions. Self-paced, online, short, tight, 2 days back to back, or half day over 3-5 weeks. Is it an intervention? Which means there'll be some training, some assignment given, and you come back, etc. Can you define projects which will work in the on-the-job situation? Do the people need coaching, either individual or group? Can a buddy help? Like, it's just about ramp up. These people haven't used the tool enough. So let's just tie them each to a buddy for the next 2 weeks. And after that, if we don't see improvement, we will see if a refresher is needed. Okay. And sometimes a pre-assessment helps, pre and post assessment, because that actually is what Shanti ma'am was saying, success metrics. Where does that come from? And in some cases, especially when you are in internal L&D, talking to stakeholders, you may talk about how will this showcase in their performance. And especially if it is a behavioral training, either it is, reducing conflicts or having better negotiation or better customer centricity, can we tie it to their performance for a quarter or 6 months? Otherwise, changing a behavior is very hard. You can measure at the end of the training and after 1 month, but unless they know there is skin in the game, will there be a change or not? So the purpose of this slide is to give you two perspectives. One, some of the questions to ask about, why is this need coming? What are the challenges you are seeing? And if somebody says nobody uses the tool properly, they do not put the fields properly, and do you have a video to help them? So then your questions start becoming specific instead of remaining generic. No, we have done some classroom trainings, but everybody just ignores the fields. Okay, if that's the case, we can do the training, but will that improve it? Or should we come up with a video which everybody watches and we can do a workshop in line? So the training will get evolved out of this discussion. And the three key mindsets to keep are, is it a process issue? Is it a performance issue? Is it a tool issue? Or is there a communication gap between the people who are working and the people who are expecting something on that work? This is all in a way pre-discovery process. You're not even discovering the training. You are pre-discovery whether the training is needed or not. Okay. Questions? Anyone? Questions? All right. Yeah, go ahead, Nilufer.
Corporate has raised her hand. Hi.
Yeah,
Gabby.
so you had asked in that breakout room slide, na? You had asked us that are there any frameworks? So, is there any that you would be sharing later?
Yes. I am talking about a few approaches and frameworks. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So now we did the pre-discovery, which is the training even needed? Right? And then we have to come to understand the real need. What is it that we are trying to do? And when you are understanding the need, audience, Shanti talked about audience, what are the symptoms? What is the root cause? But by asking what is the symptom, you may not get the answer. You may have to ask, what have been the current? Can you describe 2 problems that recently have prioritized this? And listen to those stories. Be patient to listen to those stories. Business is able to tell those stories, but we as HR and L&D professionals then need to translate into, this means it's not just a communication issue, it's also a collaboration issue. Business may not be able to do that tying for you. They may just say communication. But when you hear the story, you will be able to say, this is actually not a communication issue. This is a trust issue. and that discovery is partly in our hand, because that is we understand those aspects as L&D professionals, and business people don't necessarily understand those aspects. Okay. This is all already mentioned by Shanti and Sandhya. Maybe there are no new points here, but maybe 2 points are new here. First one is, especially if it's technical or very functional, there'll be a bunch of jargons thrown at you. Okay. We want to do Python with TensorFlow, and we need to make sure that the integration of Kubernetes also works with it. Something like that, you know. Many of the times, L&D goes with a very submersive approach of, we don't understand all the jargons. Can you elaborate for us? Or they take the text as it is said and send it to a external L&D consultant to give a proposal. My request to all of us is, we will add meaning if we understand better. I know that we may not understand the technology, but sit, and this is where AI assistance becomes really helpful. Sit and understand the domain for 5 minutes. Don't spend hours and hours, but feed those words and at least understand, I'm working in the healthcare vertical. I'm working in Philips. I'm an L&D of Philips. What are they doing with Kubernetes in Philips? What is Kubernetes and how can Kubernetes be used in Philips? At least that much of, even though you don't have to sound like know-all, the trust levels goes up from the business side and your confidence goes up in terms of being able to work with the external consultants. Okay, so understand those. And understanding the context, not just the audience. Audience, you'll know, they are 5 to 10 years of engineers working in Sudhanshu's team. Sudhanshu's team is building everything which is related to UI. They are doing Spring Boot. That is not enough context. How is this app different? Why is Spring Boot being used? Till now, only this was being used. And if it's a behavioral training, in the last quarter, sales was not able to retain 3 of the big clients. And that's why customer centricity is being brought up. So not just the audience, understand the context in which that training is being asked for. Okay. And the context ties to the real issue. Okay. And of course, you have to talk about type of intervention. You have to talk about who are the different points of contact, but then who's one point of contact. And generally, the one point of contact will guide and drive L&D, but they may not be able to give you the scenarios. You may need to talk to somebody in their team, junior person. What challenge are you facing with this tool? What would you like to learn in the training? And that helps you really tailor the solutioning to the profile. Of course, budget and sponsorship, all of that aspects also come in if it was not part of your allocated plan. Okay. To unearth all of this, what we recommend is, are you all familiar with question archetypes? I can give a one-liner. If anybody who's familiar with what are question archetypes would like to share with all of us what it is. Anyone? Archetypes in general, anyone? All right. I won't go into the archetypes as a framework, but question archetypes refers to the type of questions that can be asked, and it's almost like a categorization. Some questions are focused to getting very close responses. Some are open towards getting open responsive. Some of them are focused on root cause analysis. Some of them are so the focus of question archetypes is how do you frame the question? And 3 types of archetypes which are very good to understand, to discover, to help the discovery process are called mirroring, okay, funneling, and magic wand. So mirroring is, let's say that your leader is saying, I want these guys to go through Python training. They need to use TensorFlow. They need to use Kubernetes with Python. And, we have a delivery end of the quarter. So you just say Kubernetes. And then the other person will elaborate a little bit on Kubernetes. And then you may use the word, TensorFlow. And they will. So the point here is you pick up critical words push them as a question, either just with a word or with a what or a why or a this thing. And be patient in hearing the story. And this works very well when you are not comfortable with the domain. And you need to hear the domain words so that you build confidence that now I can deal with this request. So mirroring works very well on that. Okay. Now, if you are going to have a situation where specifics or root cause has to be known, then funneling works very well. Funneling start with somebody says we need customer centricity for salespeople, right? Okay. What does customer centricity, what are the parameters of customer centricity? And they will say, responding quickly to email, making sure that, blah, 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 and then pick up. Out of these, what challenges have you been seeing in the past 3 weeks or past 3 months or past 6 months? Then from broad, narrow it down. This works very well when the problem statement is vague, when the audience profile is vague, and when it seems like they want a lot done, like a room has to be built in one day. And that helps. And it goes from a problem to a behavior that you want to change. This one works very well for behavioral trainings. The third one is the magic wand, which is also called the prioritize archetype, which says, at some point in your conversation, ask, what one thing do you want change? And if I had a magic wand and only one thing could change, what is that one thing you want changed? That also helps when the request is very, very broad and a very long list is there. We want them to be able to communicate here also, in the team meeting also, in one-on-one also, with leaders also. This, okay, can you tell me top one thing, if we were to run a magic wand, what one thing you want changed? And even if you ask for one, they will still go to 3. But the fact is, you get organized, structured in a very disorganized and noisy request, in a very long list of asks. And then you can help them prioritize Q1, Q2, Q3, Q1 focused on the top 3 things. So these are the 3 archetypes which help with general conversations in discovery process. All right, questions? Anyone? Questions? All right.
Ma'am, I have a quick question here. So when you talk about archetypes, so can you I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing these kind of words, archetypes and all. So can you give me
Forget
some
the
kind
word.
of
So again, forget the word. The word in general is not important. What
okay?
is
So
important is the framework, but many people want to go back after the session and search, right? So if you search question archetypes, you'll get 13, 14 different types. We have picked
okay.
3 from there, which we think are useful for you.
No, ma'am, like what exactly this archetype does actually? Like what it is?
Archetype is a form of categorization. It also works for personality archetype. It can work for behavior archetype. It can work for question. So it's a form of categorization in which different behaviors are being showcased, or different personalities are being showcased. In our case, it's behavior or questioning.
So
Does that?
Can we say like categorizing
You
a
can just say
pattern or a
type of
behavior?
questions. You can just say type of questions. 3 types of questions help: mirroring, funneling, and prioritizing.
Okay. So
Okay.
in real time scenarios, can you share with us like some real time case studies of this in L&D?
I
What
just
exactly?
gave the examples of each, but let me do it again.
Okay, ma'am.
Mirroring would be, for example, somebody is saying that I took the Python example, but let us say somebody says, ramp up the organization on, please ramp up the organization on AI. AI, what all aspects of AI? So you just took one word and made a question out of it. Okay. and they will say what aspects, what we want them to know, what is LLM, we want them to know how productivity can be improved, we want them to know blah blah blah. They will use a bunch of words, right? Then you pick up one of those words. LLMs, what level of knowledge of LLMs is needed? So use the words that they are giving you to frame and decode the jargon to understand details. Works very well when you don't understand the domain. Okay. Funneling is when the request is very broad, communication for managers. Narrow it down. What scenarios? Okay, they will talk about a few scenarios. Out of these scenarios, what challenges have you seen recently? So you're narrowing it down. Oh, and then you come up with the statement saying, we want to improve our first time managers' communication in team meetings. So now you have actually brought it to a specific need. Funneling. And the magic wand is to prioritize when there are too many things being thrown at you. We want them to be, we want them to be good with emails. We want them to be good with, documentation. We also want them to be very good in meetings and asking questions. Otherwise, they are really not interacting well as a team. And then you can ask, out of these, if we had a magic wand, what one thing do you want changed? And you push them to prioritize. You're not saying I will not give you all 17. You're just saying let's order based on priority. Does that help, Advait, and does it help others also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about a couple of frameworks which can help you in your thinking and preparation. One of them is called the 5 questions category. You can look it up online and say, 5 questions category for consulting. This is generally used in consulting work. Okay. And these are the 5 key areas. Understanding the business context and environment. Okay. What all teams will be, will it be a global training? Will Japanese also do it? What is the real context? What is failing? Are these new people? Have they worked in the company before? All of this is business context. Okay. Audience, level of literacy, number of years of experience, functional profile. Will they be cross globe? Because there are different countries which prefer different kinds of trainings, right? So then what is the real goal and gap? This is what we have been talking about in discovery. What problem are you seeing on the ground? Oh, new project has come up. We don't have any problem. We have a new project. It has to be done in Python. We don't know Python, right? Oh, so, but you are familiar with other languages. Yes, we are familiar with other languages. Okay. Do you need very basic, or are there specific libraries, specific behaviors of Python? So now you are trying to understand goals and gaps. The fourth part is, what are some of the barriers and constraints you have to work with? Obvious constraints are sometimes budget. Sometimes they have only 3 days. Sometimes I can give them to you only for 3 hours a week. And please finish it in this quarter. Okay. Sometimes the constraint is that many of our people are in Coimbatore. We can't call all of them to Bangalore. So we need online. So understanding the barriers and constraints from an execution perspective. And sometimes it can be profile related also. The barrier of the profile is they are in Coimbatore. So we don't want to pay them to come to Bangalore, kind of thing, right? And then as Shanti said, success metrics. How will you know they have improved? What do you want to observe? What do you want to measure before? What do you want to measure later? Sometimes they'll say, what, measurement is not required. We just want to basic understanding of Python and maybe the machine learning libraries of it. And there should be some hands-on every day, because otherwise we know languages. So now maybe they don't want a success metrics, but then maybe they want an on-the-job project. Do you want us to then have an after learning project? Who will own the tracking of it? Who will own the review of it? Because that's additional work. Either it has to go to the L&D team, or it has to go to business leaders, or it has to go to the consultant who will do it. So these are the kind of questions you ask, and these are the 5 areas. You can add on it a sense of, how urgent is the need, and, what format do you want in terms of online versus offline versus, can we give some modules self-paced and do discussion? You can propose formats, and budget and duration falls under barriers and constraints. So this is one framework. It's a consulting framework. Consultants are taught to do issue discovery with this mindset. And so I have brought that five categories framework here. Questions? The second framework is also an interesting framework. It is used in design thinking and it is also used in consulting, but it's extensively used in design thinking. It says the 5D model. It's called the 5D probing model. Sometimes you'll call it the 5D model. It says they come with a definition, but that's not a good definition actually of the training. Your goal is to be able to define it. They think you start with definition. You don't start with definition. You start with diagnosis, discovery. That's the second part. Asking the questions to understand where the problem is. Then go to definition. Design context. It includes format. It includes, do you want only one trainer or multiple trainers are good? Do you want a workshop? Do you want, so all of the aspects of actual execution come in the design context. Desired outcomes is metrics, after session learning, assignments, how will I measure I have made an impact, etc. And delivery fit. Delivery fit refers to within budget, within duration, multiple countries. So we'll have to do online. The trainer is sitting out of Malaysia, so we will do this way. So delivery fit is audience to content to the trainer, connecting the dots. But the highlight of this framework is, although define comes first, start with diagnosis or discovery. Then go to the remaining 4 parts. And as you're doing this framework, you might also have to look at things like, in both these frameworks, you have to look at open-ended questions. Many of us are not very good with open-ended questions. We tend to ask closed-ended questions. Anybody can give me an example of open-ended versus closed-ended questions? Yeah.
On Outlook or notes. It is either
Yes.
or open-ended would look like what tool do you use to send receive email?
Yes. And when we give closed-ended, we make the task easier for the business leaders and we think we are supporting them, but actually we are making them stop thinking. So get to closed-ended questions only later in the, when you realize that, we've got enough data, now we need a very, very specific clarity. Coimbatore people, will they travel to Bangalore or not? Like that level. Initially don't try to be a rescuer and give too many closed-ended questions. Another thing is hypothesis based. What if instead of a training, we run a self-paced module from Coursera on Python, and then we work with the architects to come up with action learning projects? Would that be an interesting scenario for you? Now, this seems like a closed-ended question, but this is called a hypothesis question. And you'll come up with multiple. Don't give only one. Give multiple hypotheses. Okay? Reframing and paraphrasing. Reframing and paraphrasing technique we already discussed in mirroring, where somebody says, I need Python, and you ask, what level of Python do you need? You have rephrased their question. You have paraphrased their question. Some questions are very, very weak. How many people are going to be there in the training? Do not start like this. This should not be a convo in the first 5-10. You do need it. But do not make that as your opening unless you are very, very driven by budgets and timelines. Sometimes you're told this has to finish in 3 weeks. This has to happen. Then, yeah, this could be a good opening question. You're telling me I have only 3 weeks. How many people are really there? Okay. But otherwise, spend more time on the ambiguous questions first and then come to the specifics. Okay. And always be the devil's advocate, at least in 1 or 2 questions. Can somebody give me an example of a devil's advocate question while discussing training with a leader? Sudhanshu, you want people trained in Python. You are an expert in Python. If you were to do it, what does it mean? Another devil's advocate question would be, what if we are not able to cover all the communication scenarios you're talking about? What if we are able to cover only 3? What if we are not able to finish it in this quarter because we already have too many trainings lined up and we have only 6 weeks to complete? What if this goes to the next quarter? Pushing back with, I don't agree with you, but not saying I don't agree with you. And business generally doesn't like this. But this is also part of our job, especially as internal consultants. External consultants find it hard to be devil's advocate because they are there for the business and they know there are 10 other people who are vying for that business. So generally, they are not able to take this route. Okay. So 2 frameworks we discussed: categorization framework and 5D probing model. Okay. There is a third framework which is not particular to any of these frameworks are not particular to L&D. These are your ways of questioning, ways of understanding a situation. And this is one of the other frameworks which can be applied anywhere. It's called the question ladder framework. And it tells you there are 5 whys. Sometimes people say 2H, sometimes people say 5 why and H. Okay. And these questions: who is going to go for training? Who is asking for training? Who did raise this issue? Who can help me get the specific scenarios? Who will actually join the training? Right? What is the root cause? What is the scenario you are seeing? What did work and what did not work in that process? Okay. So if you're able to master this framework in your head and practice it consciously in your meetings for about once a week, your brain then knows to make a good combination of why, what, where, when, how to actually get a really good material to do customization. How did you discover that the communication was weak? Right? How will you validate that the communication has improved? So, and again, this questioning ladder is not only for L&D probing. In general, it is true for any questioning scenario. These are 2 common pitfalls also I want to highlight. I've already talked about Rome built in a day and few bricks. But the second one is when you're talking to subject matter experts. Many of them have little patience to deal with you because you don't understand their terms. Their body language may not be as patient. Okay, there will be a jargon dump on you. So that's when you use mirroring instead of saying, I don't understand. Okay. Sometimes the SME will say, I just need a room. I will finish this training. Just get me a room, get me a projector. I will make the deck in 3 days and I will finish the training. And actually, that might be good from an ROI perspective, but it still needs a little bit of questioning as an internal stakeholder whether the outcome will be met or not. But do not support this. Support this. This is actually a good way of building internal culture of training. And the third one is the Rome one, which is, can we finish, we'll just finish everything in 3 hours on Monday and 3 hours on Wednesday. And that feeds into the next part. Rome was built in a day. Questions? Yes, go ahead, Advait.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So now we have covered three frameworks. The first one is the consulting framework, and the second one is the 5D framework, which we have covered, and the third one is this question ladder. As you said, like the first one, I understand from the context of analyzing as an external consultant. If I were to suggest or advise or somebody, yes, the first one applies, and the second one, this second one and third one, see, both are currently in my assignment. Both
Can
the
I, Rishabh, summarization is great, but we are tight on time. Can you ask me your specific question?
So just give me the exact use case for question ladder and the exact use case for this 5D or 5D.
Sure. Question ladder is used everywhere. This is almost like your periodic table in chemistry. All the elements are listed here. You decide which element you want to use for which compound. It is used everywhere in any kind of questioning scenario, not just L&D, any kind of questioning scenario. Okay? And the 5D framework works very well when you are internal, because delivery fit discussions can happen. And where people think they have defined the requirement very well, we are sending you a mail with these 5 lines. Audience is mid-level manager. They need to improve in communication. We want a 3-day training. It should cover one-on-one scenarios and team scenarios. And the person thinks they have given you all the requirement. In such cases, diagnosis, the second part, is very important. So there the 5D works very well. Does that help?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Now let's go to the AI part. I don't want to spend any more time because we have half an hour to do AI now. Okay. What has been your experience in AI usage? Do you use it in framing questions or learning or research? What are some of the common pitfalls? Let's hear from 2 or 3 people max. Then we'll go to the activity.
Resonate with garbage in, garbage out. You
Yes.
don't ask the right question. You don't prompt it in the right way. You won't get the results that you need.
Absolutely.
It also gives you incorrect information.
Yes.
It assumes information which is not always valid.
Yes.
So
So I actually wanted all those disclaimers on the slide, but I knew somebody is going to bring up those disclaimers anyway. So I didn't put it on the slide. Outsourcing is great, delegation is great, but AI is an assistant. And do not take it as a replacement for your critical thinking. You are going to get bumped. Okay, I want to highlight that. But I do want to mention that there are too many AIs in the market. Some people are still using ChatGPT. Many of you are using Claude. Some are using Gemini. DeepSeek is very good. Grok is good in certain scenarios. Perplexity is good in certain scenarios. So understand the strength of where you will get what. Okay? You don't have to work only with one. And it keeps changing. A new LLM model gets released for a version, and a different kind of strength emerges in that LLM. So in a way, you are chasing the growth of a baby, right? The baby will keep growing. But understand the ones that work well for you. My experiences for this kind of probing questions, discovery questions, even for making this training material, what all to cover, not cover, I find Claude and Gemini as my go-tos. But I'm not saying that should be your go-to. I'm just saying I find Claude and Gemini as my go-tos. Okay. So we are going to do the same exercise, but we will do it with the AI assisted approaches. Okay. There are 4 different approaches you can take with AI. One is ad hoc. Just open Claude or ChatGPT, describe the situation. A senior leader has asked me for communication training, saying we need to improve communication of our managers. What would you propose? Then AI will ask questions to you. Maybe ask me questions to help you build a program. Explain the profile of the people. You may even give categories or dimensions. For example, they are already literate in other trainings and they only need to learn Python. They are going to use it in an ML scenario. Or if it is customer centricity, you can describe the case where the failure is happening. Okay. And you can say, you can ask me questions while you design this training. Okay. Design the checklist and get a checklist of questions which you will take with you to the interview or the convo. That is what we called ad hoc. And this is how many of us use AI. There are 3 other methodologies, and you can use them again for other situations also, not just for L&D probing. One of them is called audit. Okay. Audit means I have already done the work. Now look at this, act like a senior experienced L&D consultant. This is the question list I have made for this training request that has come to me. Tell me what is missing, challenge me. Okay. This kind of dialogue keeps your critical thinking in place, keeps your way of looking at the business in place, but gives you those perspectives which you may be missing. It works well. The third kind of usage you can do is what I call as a crash course. Okay. It works very well when you are not familiar with the domain. So you have heard Python, you have heard Kubernetes and TensorFlow, and you have no idea what these mean. Or you have been asked to train clinical technicians on some process and you don't know what that process is. Act like an expert in that domain. Explain this domain to me in 5 minutes. My profile is I don't understand this domain, very limited literacy. Give me specific scenarios for training. This is a good way to become aware of. When you're sitting in front of a business leader, you should not feel tongue tied, right? You should not feel like you have no awareness of the area. And this is what I call the domain crash course kind of usage. The last one is called role play simulation. And I will highlight it to you that preparing for this training, I did role play simulation with Claude and Gemini. So, what I did with Claude, I told Claude, you are a senior exec in a company which is selling blah, and you are asking for a sales team training on customer centricity. I am an L&D consultant. I'm going to ask you questions, you answer. So I did a simulation where AI was the stakeholder. And on Gemini, I did the simulation where AI was the L&D consultant and I was the business leader. And in the end, after chatting for about 7 to 10 minutes, I said, now based on this discussion, propose a good checklist of questions for my first convo. So these are 4 ways that you can use AI. Maybe there are more. For me also, it's a learning process, but these are the 4 I can propose. Okay. Questions. Some of the pitfalls I want to highlight. When you use, for the same thing, you use multiple AI. You use the same thing on Claude and same thing on Gemini. Some people are very good with then merging and getting value from both, but it takes one much longer. It confuses you longer. Unless depth is important, when you're doing depth in research, then use multiple AIs. But if it is a starting point for something like a checklist, don't spend time on multiple. It will confuse you even further sometimes. Okay. And many people will give me a checklist of questions to answer, cut and paste in a document and run to the convo. Please do not use material as is. Change the language to be human. Change the language which is relevant in your domain. Change the language, how you talk to your manager. Because otherwise, while sitting in front of that leader, they will ask you something and you will not have an answer. Because you have not given time to actually understand that checklist. Okay. Do not send the as is checklist in mail to them to fill as a survey. Business leaders do not engage very well with HR and L&D professionals internal if they are made to write a lot. Okay. And last thing is success metrics you can still try with these AIs, but do not go there for budget and duration. Because all the stuff is so geography centric, size of company centric, that you will not get good answers or you will not get direct answers which will be relevant to you. That is an understanding you have to discover from the business leaders. Okay. Questions. All right. So here we can take the same 3 cases. Actually, I had given other examples also. You can take any one of these, same groups, spend 10 minutes this time, use any AI tool of your choice and use any mechanism that you want to have a better list of questions, better probing. If you want to simulate role play, do that. If you want to be ad hoc, do that. If you want to ask for a checklist, do that. Look through those answers that you get and push back and have an engagement. Earlier, the plan was that each team can do differently, like ad hoc one team, role play one team, validate my checklist another team. But right now, I'd rather you just play with the tool and get a checklist out to see what are each one of us will need different kind of support. Some of us will be very good in asking audience questions, but we may miss the domain questions. Some of us may be very good with the what, how questions, but the why questions may not be of very good quality, the question that we are asking. So play with the AI and come back again with 10 to 12 questions and try to see 2-3 questions which you had not thought of before, or which are worded so well that you will get really good answers from the business. Okay? We will take 10 minutes for this, and then we will come back and debrief and wrap up the session. Questions, everyone?
Could you
All
please
right.
go back to the previous slide?
Please, previous slide. All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
You want to take a screenshot?
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead. All right. I had thought of suggesting prompts, but I didn't want this class to be a prompt engineering class. So yeah, that's also a skill, but we are not focusing on that right now. But yes, garbage in, garbage out. So your questions have to be good. All right, Ishita, we can split the same way.
Yeah, I think that we have to reshuffle the meeting rooms because, sorry, the breakout rooms because now there are 3. Plus one has 2, another has 3, another one has 4.
Okay, so let's change the problem statement. Group 1, quickly tell me the group names so that we use the time well. G1.
Give me just a second. I'm recreating the group. Shanti, Sharadi, Xavier.
Shanti, Sharati, Xavier.
Yeah, that's the request 1 they will get. Room
Okay,
2.
and I'm giving you R5 statement. Okay, request 5. G2, go ahead.
Room 2 is Akansha, Advait, Rishabh.
Akansha, Rishabh,
Advait.
and Advait. And we are giving you R7 or maybe R4. R4 is a good one. R4 statement. Next one.
And the last group is Asavari, Nilofer, and Vivek.
Nilofer and Vivek. We will give you maybe last one. Communication wasn't discussed, so R2. All right? 10 minutes so that we come back and wrap up in 10 minutes after that. Start it, Ishita.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The rooms are open. Please join. Hi, Xavier. Are you having problems joining the group? I think Xavier.
What was your question? Xavier may not. Okay.
At 4:44, I will send a half-time over message.
Yeah. This time I'm not going into the rooms because it's very short and I don't want to take their time, basically.
Makes sense.
So there was some value you think, Ishita, based on the material that was there?
Yes, right. While you were inviting some questions, I saw some people looking up, which I mean, rolling their eyes up, which made me feel that I think they have something but not ready to speak yet.
A lot of people were not ready to speak.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I think that's I if it was my training, I would just shut up and say, I'm not talking till you talk. But I do it only my direct clients harass them.
I felt they were also thinking a lot of things, putting 2 and 2 together in their heads before they can come up, hoping that we will get some questions after they come back.
Yeah.
I'll broadcast a message saying that half-time over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Hello. Yeah. Ruchi, by the end of the session, just give me a 1.5 minutes. That should be enough for me. I need to run a poll, a quick poll to understand, to get some feedback.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Should be fine.
We'll just debrief. There's a last slide. We'll hear from people. And then I have made a checklist after going through multiple LMs. As a doc, I will share it in the.
Lovely.
Yeah. Sure. What would you like to share? Sharadi or Shanti?
For everyone to join in and then start, or do we want to? Anyway, only
another minute or so is left. 2 minutes.
So,
we can,
yeah.
Wait.
Have you used AI or creating the question?
Yeah. I'll be closing the rooms now because it will take 30 seconds for the room to get closed. Around 20 seconds left now. They'll be back anytime.
Welcome back, everyone. Is everyone back?
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back, everyone. All right. So we will do a similar exercise like we did. Let me just get the. Not able to move this. I can't believe. I can't believe this. This is like. Okay, got it. And I'm not able to move. My hands are oily or something. I'm not able to move the Zoom, but I got it. All right, you're able to see the screen. It's not in. It's not in slideshow mode.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go with group one. Let's try and summarize 2 or 3 questions which were interesting that came, and what approach did you?
Yeah, Chandra, Xavier, Rishabh.
Any thoughts to share? No, the team has changed now. It was Shanti, Shariti, and Xavier.
I used ChatGPT. She used Perplexity. To me, I got 65 questions. I was amazed in the beginning, but then only to realize that by each tool, it is just reverted the same questions for each of those tools. So probably in totality, I would have about 25, 30 unique questions that I can ask the stakeholders.
What was your topic?
Data analysis. I mean, internal L&D.
Data analytics. Okay.
So it gave me questions that some of them I wouldn't have thought of. I'm not a technology person.
Yes.
I wouldn't have thought of. So I think those were very, very valuable.
Okay.
Sharada, you want to share about your experience with that grid?
Yeah, sure. This was my one of the few times I used Perplexity because I just wanted to explore a new tool, and I thought it was really interesting because it didn't just stick to the main heads or the boss people. Sorry. It also went into the questions that can be asked to the participants and the data team. So it basically mapped it to who to ask, why you should be asking them, and what to ask them. And it gave like a pre-assessment survey that can be done. And it also went into like the learning preferences and logistics that can be handled to make it a properly individualized plan.
So you almost see, right, how everything time is going to get compressed for everything because you have these AI that's going to support you with this preparation for anything. Actually, it's not just our probing, right? It's for anything that we are doing. Thank you, Shanti and Shariti. Team 2, what was your request and what was the question you were dealing with, and what tools did you use? What were a couple of interesting questions, or what came out for you?
So team 2 were Akansha, Rishabh, and Advait.
So I am using the ChatGPT for internal HR L&D and more customer centric in sales team. So what question you have to ask to the stakeholders in the different perspective, like business context, current sales behavior, or customer perspective, and capabilities gap and organization factor. What is it? So one most powerful question I found that what specific sales behavior need to change and how will we know they have changed?
Actually, these are 2 questions. Like again, when you're talking to business leaders, keep it one at a time. These are actually 2 questions.
Okay.
And sometimes they will, and this is what we said, where are you seeing the gap? What problem specifically are you seeing? You may have to use the language which your business leaders are going to be comfortable with, basically. Okay. But this is the understanding the root cause or the current behavior as is behavior. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else from that team who wants to talk about either a question or what it came up for you?
Yes, hi, Advait here, and I tried with Mistral AI and ChatGPT and with Cap Gemini as well as with Perplexity. So when it started questioning first, it started about the capabilities. The first parameter is the capability. Second is the net promoting score, which for the sales people. And the third is he talked about sales funnel, and he talks about the other areas which
What did you
I got.
ask? What was your question?
See, the question was just hold on.
You don't remember the question?
Yes, no. The question
Okay.
was internal HR and L&D more customer centricity in sales team.
Okay. So again, you did not ask per se about questions. You wanted questions. Our goal in this session was to generate questions. So you didn't ask it to generate questions. It gave you ideas of possibility of sales training, basically.
No, I have 6 questions in this particular in this context. The first question is, what specific customer related challenge that we are facing currently in sales team?
Yeah. So we can't go through all the 6 questions, Advait. Appreciate that. But yes, this is the way to probe. Instead of jumping to, oh, you want customer centricity? We will go get you it. What specific scenario is it that we are having a challenge with the customer? Understanding that as a first step. All right. All right. Last team R2. I don't know which request that was. It's Savri, Nilufar, and Vivek. How was your experience, and what were 1 or 2 interesting questions that came up in the AI?
Yeah, so I tried the audit thing that you said, no? So, I mean, I just put some few general questions and then asked it to audit for me. And that was interesting for me because it gave me right from, it gave me 8 buckets. And right from business context to specific communication situations to current desired behavior, whole lot. So
which LLM did you use?
I just used ChatGPT because just now
that's fine. That's fine.
I'm doing some other projects on Perplexity and also I just took this one, but interesting nevertheless.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else wants to share from the team in Asavri, Vivek? Any thoughts?
One interesting question was with respect to asking them about the previous intervention and what worked and what did not.
Yes. And especially when they call refresher or they say advanced communication chahiye hai. In such situations, always ask about what was done earlier, how long back was it done, what has been the value, have you seen any change, what change have you not seen?
Right.
Right. Those are, thank you. All right. I have shared a probing questions checklist, which I have made after looking through 3 LLMs, and I have tried to keep it not very long. I didn't want it to have 65, 70 questions. And the questions are a little long in the sense they may have 1 or 2 different elements. But I wanted to make sure that the 5, 6 categories of who, what, why, when, where, etc. do get covered. So it is just for your reference. It can be created by you also. And it's not necessarily exhaustive. It will depend on how much domain knowledge you have, but it should be a good way for you to use as a ready reckoner. Okay. We will wrap up the session now with what has been useful to you in terms of questioning and what has been useful to you in terms of using AI. If you can share one thought.
Can I start?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So I really liked the probing questions and the different type of frameworks that you mentioned. So that was my biggest takeaway, and also the kind of questions that the kind of prompts that we can give AI tools to generate. So the recent last exercise that we did, I think that was also very helpful for me.
Thank you. And the focus here is probing for L&D, but these tools and frameworks can be used for any kind of questioning, any kind of situations, right? Okay. Anyone else wants to share one value in probing or AI that you would like to share with the group? And it's also good for us to take that 30 seconds of reflection. 1 or 2 more thoughts, then I have to hand over to Ishita.
For me, the question archetypes was interesting.
Okay, the concept itself. You can go and actually, if you're interested in the space, go and study. Certain personalities have certain question archetypes. And we have a tendency to use only that. And you can grow yourself by expanding your archetype, basically. So, okay, thank you for highlighting that, Nilufar. Anyone else? One more thought?
Ma'am,
All right. Okay, go ahead. Anyone who was speaking?
Ma'am, I would here in this particular thing ask to answer your question very specifically. One thing which I liked on manual process apart from AI is this archetype was something new for me today. It's a good learning for me.
Sure.
On this 5D model was something new. I haven't come across this particular model. This is without AI, and this AI what I was able to see is we can pull out we can pull out more deeper questions on
Yes.
insights.
Yes. Thank you, Advait. Thank you very much, GWS Grow with Satori, for giving me this opportunity to give back to my community. And whoever wants to connect with me, I am available on LinkedIn. I will leave a LinkedIn link here again, and I hand it over to Ishita.
Thank you so much, Ruchi. And for me, one thing that I would say after each of your sessions, I take back a lot of thoughts in my head, a lot of ideas that I'm yet to explore and looking forward to explore. And just like the other sessions that I've attended for you, this goes the same thing.
Thank you very
People,
much.
thank you so much for being such an amazing audience, for all your interactions, questions, and thoughts that you have shared during the session. We would love to know your feedback about this session or this session that you have attended today. Um, do share your thoughts. It really helps us understand if the sessions, especially for the guild or our other communities, are in line with what you're looking for, what you're expecting. Yeah, the poll will be open for another 20 seconds. Okay. Yeah, we have good number of responses. Now I'm going to end the poll. Thank you so much, people, for the time that you spent during these learning sessions. And we would love to hear from anybody else if you want to share your thoughts, share your learnings, share your experiences through a session. Please reach out to us. You can drop us a message on WhatsApp or reach out to us via email, and we'll be happy to take that discussion forward with you. For now, Ruchi, really appreciate your time, your thoughts, your the. Give me a second. There's something popping up. I think that was the poll. Really appreciate the time, the energy that you spent for curating these sessions and making sure these are meaningful for people. People, we have Ruchi's contact details on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to her. She's also part of the community. Tag her to the questions that you are stuck with. And yes, let's pick her brains a little bit more after the session.
I was just telling at the start, I always learn when I prepare for these. So I had role play with AI for the first time. So there's always something to learn, and it's lovely to be giving back to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.